How's it? Live show for Thursday, October 27th, for the week of Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll let the members get in here in a second. And then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the games that you want to talk about. Go ahead and start plopping in the selections there. Hey, Rob, good to see you, man. So, by the way, I will. Hey, Joe, good to see you. Obviously, this is recorded. Let me see what our football card looks like this week. It has not been posted yet. Okay. Let me see something else real fast too. We have a team that helps us with football. And my cakes. Okay, so let's start talking about the game. All right, Rob wants to talk about the Falcons game. Let's get straight to it. So as per the Falcons game, Atlanta comes in after that bad loss, and Carolina comes off that big win against the Bucs, 2-5 team here versus a 3-4 team. Though Atlanta could easily be 5-1, they probably should have won that Tampa Bay game. They probably should have won. They could have won the Rams game, but just the only game that they were really out of touch was the Bengals game. I know the Atlanta Falcons gave almost 460 yards of passing that game, and they only had 107 passing yards as well. I think Atlanta will bounce back somewhat in this game. That game went over 48. I think they'll bounce back defensively. Carolina played fantastic the last 2 weeks. Frankly, I think they've had a new voice. And they played exceptionally well. And, Tom Brady went for 290 yards, didn't throw for any touchdowns, but PJ Walker played really well, 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. And they continue to be a pretty good dog. I think I can't go against Atlanta on the bounce back should work, but it's a division game. So how do the Falcons do as a favorite? That's not the Falcons haven't been a favorite since they were, they haven't been a favorite all year, right? First time they've been a favorite. And I don't know how they'll react to that. My original intention was the Panthers have played under back-to-back games. They've been phenomenal on the defensive side of the ball. And this total sits around 41.5. I think the Falcons will play better on the defensive side after giving up 460 yards. I think the Panthers will play decent defense as well because that's what the Panthers do, and ball control. This is the lowest total the Falcons have faced all year, and therefore I like Atlanta and Carolina under as your first lean today. Okay, moving on here. Oregon game. How's it, buddy? Good or good, Rob? Doing well, man. The Oregon game. Let's get to that game. And by the way, what I give you here is not necessarily what's going to be on the premium football plays. This is just my leans. I will select the premium football plays by 6 p.m. today, but 95% of the time it'll be the same. All right, in case there is some discrepancy, if you're a premium football client, don't take it the wrong way. But 95% of the time it's going to be the same. So I just want to get that in there. So moving on to the Oregon game here, they are facing California. They're 17.5-point favorites. Top 10 team. After that original Georgia loss, they've been playing really well. 6-1. Cal is 3-4. Total about 58.5. These two teams last met when Oregon won 24-17. Last three have gone under between these three teams. Two teams, 46, 59, and 54. All three went under. So Cal has some revenge. Oregon comes off that exciting win over UCLA. They've covered 3 in a row, routed Stanford, routed Arizona, beat UCLA pretty handily. They've got Colorado on deck. California has USC on deck, coming off that tough loss to Washington, but they still hung in there. Tough loss to Colorado as a 15.5-point favorite. They lost. Washington State, 9-28. So, Cal, they were down. They played really well. They just got beat in the fourth quarter in that game. So the question is, how bad is Cal going to get beat, right? It's interesting that it's telling that the totals are 52, 49, and 55. Cal doesn't score a lot of points, but their strength is their defense. Oregon, whenever they're a heavy favorite, they've put up at least 40 points in their last 5-6 games, right? And since the beginning of the season, outside of the Georgia game, they put up at least 41 or 44 or 45. So it's tough to take an under on an Oregon team. And the total shockingly sits around 56.5, and it went up to 58.5. Oregon could hit this total by themselves, but I think this game will play out differently. I don't want to go against Cal too much because they're going to play with their hearts out, and it's going to really come down to. But I also think Cal's strength is their defense as well. I actually like the under between Oregon and Cal here. I think that's the only way they're going to be able to keep it close, and I think Oregon's got bigger fish to fry, frankly. with Colorado on deck as well. So that's what I have for you there. How's it, IC? Hey, Anthony, good to see you. Jets versus Patriots. Anthony, I'm going to stay off that game for a second. I'll tell you. Well, I'll research that game for you. So the Patriots are favored here by 2.5, 3-14 versus a 5-2 team. It's interesting, right? I mean, the Jets are going to be pissed off. They're going to be embarrassed. They're going to be ticked off that they're an underdog, a home underdog, because they're not getting enough respect. But the Patriots come off a 14-33 loss. Is there a QB controversy? I think so. I think Zappy's been playing better than Mac Jones, and that's my fan. He used to quarterback for Alabama. So, the Patriots only come off 70 yards rushing and 190 yards passing. But, the Patriots did rout Cleveland. They did beat Detroit, who actually was playing pretty well. So it's not like, the Patriots are a bad team. The Jets roll into this game. The question is, how good are the Jets, right? Well, you know what you're getting from the Patriots somewhat. The Jets beat Denver, but Denver could just be horrible. They beat Green Bay, but Green Bay is horrible. Miami, they beat, but I don't know how healthy Tua was in that game. They beat Pittsburgh. They lost to Cincinnati, the only decent team they might have played. And then they beat Cleveland, who has been struggling with Brissett at quarterback, and they beat and lost to Baltimore. I think this makes sense. I do like the Patriots here. This could be a top play for us. I'm not entirely sure, but I do like the Patriots for what it's worth. Hey, I see Cardinals versus Vikings. Sure. So, Minnesota's a 3.5 point favorite. Totals of 48, 48.5, 3-14 versus a 5-1 team. Can you believe Minnesota's 5-1? Unbelievable. They lost that game to Philadelphia. It didn't look that good. Then they beat Detroit. They beat New Orleans. They beat Chicago, but they beat Miami. But they beat a whole bunch of teams that aren't very good. Arizona comes to this game after a big win against New Orleans, 42-34. Tight loss to Seattle, Philadelphia, Carolina. It's Arizona's got Seattle on deck, and Minnesota's got Washington on deck. Arizona beat this team 34-33 last year. It kind of makes me a little nervous that Minnesota is not favored by more here. Minnesota usually, has totals of 41, 43, and 44. And if you look at this game is set up at 48.5. It's a high total for this team. But I absolutely will not trust Arizona at the end of the day. And I think Minnesota, they faced a good Miami defense, good Bears defense. They might be able to score a lot of points here. Arizona put up 42 on New Orleans, but, they could be an active dog as well. Small lean for me on Minnesota and Arizona over in this game. The line favors Arizona in the sense that they're expected to be an active dog. However, I might pull the plug on Minnesota. Right now, my early leans there in that game are Minnesota and the over in that game. But yeah. Okay. Next game. What do we got? 4 leans so far. I'll give you a recap of all the leans at the end of this video, okay? Hey, I see. Hey, Matthew, good to see you. Hey, Cliff, good to see you. Anthony, again, the lean is on the Jets. I'm sorry, the lean is on the Patriots. Hope that helps. Cowboy Bears. Hey, Rob. Cowboy Bears. So, Cowboys are heavily favored, right? 5.5 or 9.5 points. Bears come off an exciting win. Now they're seen as a massive underdog, which is kind of funny. Bears beat the Patriots 33-14, but they also lost to Washington 7-12. This is the biggest dog price they faced since they went against Minnesota. They have Miami on deck here. They will get up to face Dallas, but Chicago won 31-24 last year or 2019. Dallas comes off a 24-6 thumping of Detroit. Not much was thought about Dallas, and yet here they are, 5-2, despite all the injuries. Heavy chalk here. The funny thing is Dallas was down 3-6 last game, and I think they're going to come out much faster out of the gates of this gate. That defense is just fantastic, and at the end of the day, Dak is back. Got his feet wet. I thought he played pretty well. I think this is a great spot for Dallas to do well. I think it's a great spot for Dallas to do well. So I lean on Dallas here. I think they have an opportunity to try to win and win big, and this could be a good spot for them to do that, especially with the Bears coming off a big win. It could be a classic letdown spot for them, right? So that sort of makes sense. Let me go back to the Patriots. New England has won this game the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can't remember how many times New England has won this game in a row. So keep that in mind. And Bill Belichick used to coach for the Jets too, so he's got that motivation there. Hey, Michael, good to see you. Hey, Icy. What do you think about Oklahoma City and the Clippers under? So for that game, our 6-unit selection today is actually on that game. However, I like the over in that game because I think the Clippers took them too lightly last time around. They're not going to take them lightly today. They're going to look for the blowout. At the same time, I think Oklahoma City shoots the ball pretty poorly. I think 20% from 3-point last game. So I actually lean on the over tonight between Oklahoma City and LA Clippers. But I want you to know that their 6-unit selection is on our side, which I can't give you here. But you should be able to think what that might be given what I just told you. Hey, Maurice, good to see you. Ravens game lean. Yeah, Maurice, I put this on the daily video, but the lean is going to be on the over between Baltimore tonight against the Bucs. The Bucs scored 3 points last game. They scored, I don't remember, like something horrible the game before as well. They're going to have to bounce back on the offensive end at some point. I can't take the Bucs because they're not playing well. I can't take them as a favorite. It doesn't make any sense because you have a Ravens team you have to respect. Forget the line. You have to respect what someone's done. Forget the line. This team beat the Bengals. They lost to the Bills, the best team in the league, maybe by 3. They routed the Patriots. They lost to the Giants, who are playing pretty well, by 4, and they beat the Browns. And yet they're going to put them as a 1.5-point dog. It's just out of respect for Tom Brady. But, I mean, if you go by the line, if you go by the public fade, you should be on the Bucs. But I can't take the Bucs. But I can take the over. Tampa Bay scoring 3 points in their last game. First back-to-back losses of 10. They haven't lost 3 in a row, I should say. They have lost back-to-back before. But, 18 points against Pittsburgh, 3 against Carolina. They need to bounce back big time offensively. And I also think the Ravens will be a good active dog. And I actually lean on the over in this game between Baltimore and the Bucs. Isaac, what are your thoughts on the Flyers tonight against Florida? Hey, Jordan, good to see you. So Flyers tonight, by the way, give this video a like if you get a chance. Would appreciate it. As far as the Flyers tonight, our premium NHL today is on the Wild and Senators and the Stars and Capitals. Okay. So as far as the Flyers, the total sits around at everybody likes the under, it seems, and the total sits around 6.5. So Florida, last time these two teams met, Florida, this was just a couple days ago, Florida won 4-3, right? So, Philadelphia has some revenge. Florida comes off a loss to Chicago as a huge favorite, 233, only scoring 2 goals. They beat the Islanders. They lost to Tampa Bay. When they win, it seems it goes. Yeah, so then Philadelphia has Carolina on deck, and Florida has Ottawa on deck. Philadelphia put up 0 goals in their last game, 3 against Nashville, lost to Florida, 2 against, lost to Tampa Bay. They win predominantly through their defense. The public likes the under. It's a tough game because you have Philly off of a loss, 0-3, and then you have Tampa Bay Florida off of a loss, 4-2. The last time they met, it went over. I actually think both teams are going to be pretty frustrated. I actually like the over here. So lean on the over between Florida and Philly in the NHL as well. We're getting pretty close to 10 games here. We're about 8. I'll give you 2 more or 3 more. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Packers, Bills. So the Packers, Bills. So the Packers, Bills. The Packers are big dogs. Bills are 10.5-point favorites. How many times is Josh Allen going to get to face Aaron Rodgers? Not many times. In fact, last time the Bills beat the Packers was in 2014. So Josh Allen has never beaten the Packers, right? The Packers are abysmal. And I think they're doing it on purpose sometimes just to get Jordan Love in as quarterback. But the Packers lost 21-23 to Washington. They lost 10-27 to the Jets. They lost 20-27 to the Giants. They are a massive dog, arguably the biggest dog they've been all year. I think they have. They were a 10-point dog to New England. I'm sorry, 10-point favorite to New England. So they were definitely, this is the biggest dog price that Aaron Rodgers has faced in a long time. The Bills roll in here, beating the Chiefs 24-20. They beaten Pittsburgh 38-3. So they can rout a team. And the Bills are also, they only had they had 318 passing yards, 125 rushing yards. Yeah, I think there's only one way you can go in this game. Normally, Bills games are around 54, 52 points. And normally Packers games these days are around 41, 42 points. And then this game sits around 47.5, beautifully right in the middle. The only way Green Bay is going to do well in this game is through the under, but you can never take an under in a Bills game, so that doesn't make sense. It's not a big lean, but I think Josh Allen wants to say that he beat Aaron Rodgers, and he beat Aaron Rodgers in a rout. So I actually lean on the Bills. Plus, they come off a tough game against a good Chiefs defense last week. Maybe they have a letdown. Maybe the Packers play, lights out in this game. These days, when the Packers do win a ball game, they typically go under, right? Beating the Bucs 14-12 or the Bears 27-10. My early leans right here on this game is the Packers Bills under. Probably I like that more because you're going to have to fight for your season if you're the Pack, and the Bills come off a huge win, but also a small lean on the Bills. But that just seems too obvious. You know what I mean? So I like the under more. Can you talk about UK and Tennessee? Yeah. So my early lean in that game, as of course Tennessee beats my Alabama Crimson Tide. You can see all sorts of Alabama paraphernalia behind me. I wanted to go against Tennessee early on. I might put that on my card. I might lean on Kentucky. By the way, we're getting to about what is it? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll give one or two more, and then we'll call it a day. Definitely UK Tennessee. I'm liking Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, the problem is I don't want to go against Tennessee too much. But at the end of the day, Kentucky is still the 17th ranked team in the country. They didn't play that great against Mississippi State, but they ended up winning. They lost to South Carolina. They lost to Ole Miss in tight games, but that defense is quite good. It's really good. And then Tennessee rolls into this game, but they have Georgia sandwiched in next game, right? And you put up 20. They didn't have a letdown against Alabama after that big win. They routed Tennessee Martin. Okay, credit to them. They beat LSU. But this is the best defense they're going to play. I think Kentucky's defense is actually better than Alabama's defense. Tennessee won by 3 points last year. The total was 57.5. Normally, Kentucky games are around 50, right? And Tennessee games these days around 65, right? So, and this game sits around 61.5. So my original lean was on Kentucky and also on the under in this game. Kentucky's a very good defense. And when Kentucky is an active dog, they typically go under. They're one of the rare teams. They were an active dog against Ole Miss. They're one of the rare active dog under teams, right? Ole Miss final score was 19-22. So I lean on Kentucky. I lean on the under in that game. A couple other quick leans here. Hey, Drew, good to see you. Heat Warriors. Yeah, that game, the lean was on the over for the Heat Warriors. It's on our daily video. So be sure to check that out. I just think that Golden State always gets up to play Miami. Golden State off of a loss. Miami an active dog. And these two teams don't see each other often, so I like the over in that game. Hey, I see Ray John. Good to see you. Big Wig, Rob, Maurice, David. Good to see Kim Hastings. Love live shows. Thanks for joining, Kim. Cliff. The lean is on Dallas. Yes, it is. Canadian Sabres. Okay. Sandeep, Stanford, UCLA, Florida State, Georgia Tech. How do I feel about this Dallas Stars? How do you think about the Clippers tonight? Team total. I don't like the team total. I like the side, which is our 6-unit premium selection, but I also like the over in general in that game. Houston, Philly, game 1. I'll let you know that tomorrow. And can you talk about the Giants, Seattle? Yes, I'll get to Giants, Seattle, and then the Rams, 49ers, and then that'll be that. That's about 12, 13 games in there. So the Giants, Seattle game, and I got to get my football card up. Yeah, 6-1 team in the Giants. Nobody respects them, even though they're 6-1. Seattle is 4-3. Giants coming off a big win against Jacksonville. They didn't respect them there either. They're 3-point dogs there too, and they won outright. How many times are going to keep going against the Giants? Last two have gone under, 24-20 and 23-17. Giants are for real, and good for them. Daniel Jones was about to get the hook. Looks like he survived, but that Seattle team put up 37 on the Chargers, whose defense is horrible. They put up 19 on Arizona. They've won back-to-back games. Probably his best coaching job so far for Pete Carroll. So what happens here? New York beat them 17-12 2 years ago. Total sits at 46.5, went down to 44.5. Public likes the over. It's just how many times do you keep going against the Giants? But I mean, let's look at the quality of wins, right? Did they beat the Giants? Have beaten Baltimore. Excuse me. Who can be suspect? They beat Jacksonville, suspect. Green Bay, suspect. Chicago, suspect. Lost to Dallas, good team. Carolina, suspect. They've beaten a bunch of lousy teams. Seattle beat Arizona, who's lousy. Chargers, lousy. Beat Detroit. Lost Atlanta. Lost to San Fran. It's tough to say in this game. But I got to go with the more experienced coach who understands that if he can win this game, they move to 5-3. And Seattle's offense looks spectacular last game. So I'm going to take actually a flyer here and a small lean on Seattle in this game. All right, my friends, let me get all this to you here. The final leans are on Atlanta and Carolina under in the NFL, Oregon, Cal under, lean on the Patriots, lean on Arizona, Minnesota over. Lean on Dallas, lean on Oklahoma City, LA Clippers over tonight. The premium is the 6-unit selection. It's on the side. Baltimore and the Bucks, lean on the over in that game. Lean on Kentucky, as well as lean on the under in that game. Lean on Florida, Philadelphia in the NHL over. Lean on the Packers, Bills under. And lean on Miami, Golden State over. And lean on Seattle Seahawks. That is about 10-plus games. Hope that is useful to you. Normally we hang out 15 minutes, but we went over to 20 minutes here. Hope you guys are doing great, and I will have the football card about an hour for you football clients. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like it. I'll see you back here tomorrow on the daily video and the YouTube Premium. And obviously, your YouTube Premium was just released about 30 minutes ago. Take care, guys.